Hey y'all, Chelsea and Danny here.
Enjoy this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube.
Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Real projects for real homeowners with real solutions. Information and inspiration on improving your home from professional remodeler Danny Lipford.
Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're with us. You know, you might be surprised as to how many homeowners are filling in those backyard swimming pools to create a little bit of a different outdoor atmosphere. One that has a spa, pavers, plenty of plants, and a little landscape lighting. It's exactly what we're doing to the courtyard behind this house. And along the way, we're building a very nice porch that'll overlook this newly renovated courtyard. Now, what you see here is a temporary access road to the backyard. We had to create this because there's a lot of debris that has to come out of the backyard and a lot of dirt that has to be taken into the backyard to fill up that swimming pool. We'll take a look at all of it in this week's show and show you the completed project. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Now, since everything that is coming and going from this courtyard has to pass through this area, we enlarged the original gate size out to here so that it will accommodate the Bobcat tractor that'll make about 100 trips in and out of this backyard. Of course, things are moving along here and a lot of dirt has been brought in to fill up what used to be a very large swimming pool in this area. Actually over 13 feet deep. It was all gunite concrete construction, so it was fairly hard to do all the jackhammering around the perimeter of the pool to fill it in, and then the Bobcat bringing load after load of dirt to fill all of this up. Of course, it's looking good. It's packed down, ready to go. Over here, the porch that's being built is just about ready for the slab to be poured after a little bit of more dirt work to pack it all in and termite treatment, and we'll be pouring that slab in just a day or so. And here's basically what the footprint of the back porch will be. It's 36 feet long and about 8 feet wide at this point. Then it juts out another 4 feet. On the elevation, has a long sloping roof right along here with a little gable roof right on the front. So this will be very attractive with all the handrails, the pavers that are going on top of the porch, and you can sit here and relax and look right out over a very well landscaped courtyard area. And the gentleman who's in charge of that landscaping is Bill Bath. Well, Bill, I see you have the whirlpool pad looking good here. Take our viewers through these plans and give us an idea of what everything will look like once it's complete.
Okay, Danny, this is our whirlpool area right here on this back wall of the plan, and it directly confronts the center of the porch of the house. So it's a nice line. It's going to be a formed in place gunite pool, custom built, and I think it looked real nice. And this is a step landing we're looking at right now, which you'd actually step up to the whirlpool.
I see, and you have pavers all throughout, and I see a couple planting areas there, maybe a couple trees?
Yeah, we have 2 crepe myrtles going in here with a nice form, nice stature, give a little height and a bit of color.
Okay, good, good. Well, speaking of color, I know that you're introducing colors with the pavers because it's so white and kind of bleak around here in the courtyard. I guess those are the pavers you'll be using.
These are the pavers we're going to use. We're introducing a red and charcoal. We feel that it would blend in real nice with the black and the white. And also they're going to be kind of a little classical, so we'll stay within the area of the home itself.
That looks great. Well, I'm sure a few of the viewers are wondering, why should you completely fill in a perfectly good swimming pool and replace it with a whirlpool? But actually, a real common request, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We're doing a lot of this. We're finding that families that have their children have grown and leave home, the adults really don't care to keep up a lot of pools too much longer.
Right.
They go into something a little different.
A lot of maintenance and a lot of money involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
they tend to like the hot tub whirlpool effect.
Sure, yeah, and a little relaxation there and a very little maintenance on it. Yeah, good, okay. Now, as far as drainage, anytime you have a courtyard, drainage is a big concern. I know you've really planned on drainage, and the pavers really help that whole situation out, don't they?
They do. The pavers themselves, of course, we're looking at quite a big area. The pavers themselves do actually let the water leak through the joints. They're not mortared together. They're interlocking. They do have a very, very slight space, which is good, and that lets a lot of the water go into the subgrade underneath into a French drain system.
Okay, all right, and then you were lucky to find a connection there.
Yes, we are going to put another sub-drain line going into an old pipe that we found, which goes all the way out to the street.
Great. Well, that was lucky to find, because a 6-inch pipe like that traveling the, say, 300 feet or so to the road would be fairly expensive.
Very expensive. We feel happy that we saved the customer some money.
Okay. All right. Well, Bill, what's next? I mean, you've gotten a good start here, and I know you're having to deal with a few underground lines, but what's the next step out here?
Well, the next step now is to go ahead and get the drains in that we mentioned and start preparing our base for the pavers and hauling in our base material and get everything graded out.
I guess it'll be quite a challenge to get all those pavers back here with having to travel as far as we're having to travel down the little side road there.
Oh, yes, we're used to it.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, I look forward to working with you on the rest of the project, and we'll be right back. Now, this is a tough way to spend your day, holding onto a jackhammer like this, but like any remodeling project, whether you're remodeling your house or remodeling a courtyard, occasionally you'll run into a few unexpected things, and that's what we ran into here. This is actually the back wall of the swimming pool that we filled in, and we felt like it would be low enough that the spa whirlpool area could be formed and shaped without running into that. Well, obviously not. So we're having to jackhammer all of that out in order to get the depth we need. Now, after we remove all of this part of it, they'll repack the dirt in there real well, and it'll be ready for our masons to come in and create the nice large spa that'll kind of be the focal point of this whole courtyard. Now, the brick masons have already been out and created our outside perimeter wall here, and later on, Bill Baff, our landscaper, will install some pavers here to really create a nice little entryway into the spa. Now, another place where a lot of activities taking place is on the other side of the courtyard on the porch. Now, one of the things we were really lucky on over the last few days is plenty of good weather. 70 degrees, sunshine, no chance of rain, just the way we like it. As a result of that, we've been able to make a lot of progress over the last 3 days, including all of the framing of the porch area. We've been able to get all of the rafters in, the decking, all of that in less than 3 days. Now it's time for the roofers to take over. But as soon as they got here this morning, they realized they had a challenge in that the pitch of the roof is not quite as steep as it should be when you're installing shingles. As a general rule, you want 2.5 inches of rise for every 12 inches of travel. That means the slope of the roof has to be adequate enough so that shingles will perform as they should. Now, to get by that obstacle, the roofer had a great suggestion. It's a film-coated leak barrier that goes down over the building felt, and what this does is when you nail the shingles in, it actually seals up all of the nail penetrations so that you won't have any problems in installing shingles. Plus, we gave the homeowners what they wanted in a matching roof on the new porch that matches the existing house with all the dimensional type shingles, so we're in good shape there. Now we're able to move forward with some of the other things that are some of the blocking that's taking place, some of the soffit work. Then we'll have the electricians out to put us a few lights here and there, and we'll be able to put up our beadboard ceiling, then turn it over to our painter. Now, when we were here last, we had this block perimeter wall all in place, and we had mounds of dirt all over this area. All of that dirt was smoothed out, compacted very well, and we poured concrete. But because of this being in the rear of a home, it was hard to get concrete back here. So the solution was to pump all of the concrete. Now, concrete pumper can cost anywhere from $400 to $600 a day, but it really makes it a lot easier to get the concrete in a remote area like this instead of all those trips with a wheelbarrow. Plus, you're not jeopardizing any chance of destroying a driveway with the heavy concrete truck. Now, you may notice this isn't the smoothest slab you may have ever seen. The reason for that is we'll be installing pavers over the entire porch, and so leaving a little bit of a rough texture on it will be good when they put the pavers over it. And the entire porch has a slight elevation in this direction so that any rain that blows up in there, it'll roll right off out into the courtyard. Now, this isn't the only place that's getting pavers. As we mentioned earlier, almost the entire courtyard will end up with a thick brick paver. And you can see that Bill Bath, our landscaper, has already installed some of the crushed limestone, which is a perfect base for the pavers. Now, this packs very well, so you get a good flat area to put the pavers on. Plus, it's porous enough that the water during a rainfall will go down through the pavers, through the limestone, and into the drain system that he's already installed. He mentioned earlier how he was going to dig all of the trenches, which he's completed, and all of it ends up right in the center of the courtyard where we'll have a nice little catch basin to take care of all of the rain and move it out front to the storm sewer. Now the next step is to install a lot of these pavers, and we'll look at it next. Now this is an example where it really pays for the contractor and the landscaper to be working together. What we've done here is we have a downspout that comes from some guttering from the porch area to handle the water coming off the roof and coming down. Now if we just let the water just spill off onto the courtyard, it would be a problem, but Bill's provided us a drain. This will work great.
Yeah, we went ahead and put that in, Danny, before the paving was done, so that we could put a drain in to catch your downspout.
That's
Get rid of the
perfect.
water instead of spilling it all over on the patio.
Yeah, that makes a big difference because after a while it'll probably cause a washout here if we didn't do this, maybe even stain some of the pavers.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, things are moving along here. I know we have to get the painter back to do some touch-ups, and then I know you're going to make a big difference on the slab area.
Yeah, we're going to put 12 by 12 tile on here and bring them out over the edge with a bullnose, wrapping over the edge of the brick, and we are going to wrap the steps themselves.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But we still got the brick walls to put in. They'll be painted like the surroundings, of course.
Okay, so with it being an exterior, I guess it has some type of texture to keep it from being too slick.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
It'll be a
good.
rough surface tile.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the pavers look great. I know you have the sand that you apply to it. Tell our viewers the reason for that and how important it is.
Well, it's an interlocking effect. It bonds the pavers in so they don't move around, and we'll just leave it sit here probably throughout the rest of the job until we're finished, and then we'll clean up and we'll lay a bedding sand down on top of that again.
Okay, so one more coat over the
Yeah,
top
right,
of it.
yeah.
Now this must have taken forever with this radius in here like this. There's a lot of pieces had to be cut.
Yeah, a lot of work there. We've got some pretty skilled installers that got onto that. They did a real good job
Yeah,
of
it
it.
sure is. I like the half radius here, another half radius over on that side, and then the full radius over there really highlights that entryway coming in.
Yeah, breaks up the large expanse.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is a big area now that the swimming pool's out of the
Yeah,
way.
big area.
But they replaced it with another type of pool, but a lot less maintenance. But this is a big one. This isn't a normal size whirlpool spa. We were out the other day and saw the stonemason having to do a lot of cutting on the coping here to really create the radius around there.
Yeah, it gives a nice effect too, I think, you know, with the different angles, the different cuts. And just makes it look real nice.
Yeah,
He's done a real nice job.
He sure
on it,
has.
yeah.
That's nice and good and permanent. Now, what about the finish on the inside of the spa?
The last thing we've got to do coming up is to plaster the pond, finish the plumbing out, and then put the water in, and we're in good shape.
I even see a light down in there. That's a
Yeah,
great tub.
got a light there.
Good. Good. And
Yeah.
what about this area you're standing on as far as how to finish it out? How
Well,
will
this
that be done?
is going to be the same tile as what we're putting on the porch over there.
Oh,
So
okay.
the two will tie together.
Perfect. Perfect.
And we're painting the brick, of course, just
see.
like the perimeter walls the same way.
All right, that'll all blend in. Now, I know in addition to all this hardscaping you're doing, you're also handling all of the selection and planting of the plants. These really look good over there.
Yeah, we went ahead and put some plants in, which for this time of the year it's hard to find color, but we got some camellia sasanquas and some dwarf oleanders, and we bordered the beds with little pansies. So I think it'll be pretty here.
Yeah, really nice, real nice. But you've set all this up to be fairly maintenance-free. I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
really is important to the homeowners.
Absolutely.
After all those years of maintaining that swimming pool.
That was the theme of the whole thing.
Well, everything's looking good here, and when we come back after this next segment, we'll show you everything completed. Well, this courtyard has certainly seen quite a transformation over the last couple months. One of the big additions, of course, is a large rear porch, beaded board ceiling, recessed lights, and really nice tile floor. Also, our brick pavers look great, and all the sand we had on here before has settled in nicely, and we know the drainage works because over the last couple weeks we've had some really tough rains, handled it without any problem. But the rain really helped all of our plants really get established. Now at this point, the homeowner's looking at several ways of lighting up the courtyard. One idea is the little rope lights you see around the perimeter. They're checking that out a little while, deciding if that's just the type of light they want. And I'm sure when it warms up, they'll be using the whirlpool quite a bit, and I love the touch of the fountain right in the middle. Now, if you remember before, there was a large pool here, really not much room for entertaining. Now, that won't be any problem. We'll see you next week.
It's time to pick up a few tricks of the trade from Danny and home repair expert Joe Truini in this week's Simple Solution.
Now, Joe has some storage ideas that will allow you to maximize the space you have available in your shop or your garage.
Well, here are a couple I did earlier today, Danny. You'll see I took a couple of 2x4s. These are about 12 inches long, and I used a couple of 2.5-inch drywall screws and just screwed them to either side of the stud. That just gives you a place to hang up a couple of garden tools and a very little wall space.
Yeah, that's a good space saver there. And another one you've done here, Joe, the 2x4 between the studs is great for that more narrow storage needs.
Right, and then for wider storage, I took a few more 2x4s. These are about 15 inches long. I also knocked off the bottom corner just so you wouldn't bang your head into it. And I ran them along, and again, with 2.5-inch long drywall screws, screwed them right to the stud.
Yeah, that's a perfect height for it because you can still have storage against the wall like your plywood.
Plenty of room. Yeah, this is about 5 feet high. Then for the shelf itself, I'm just using a piece of particle board. This is about 15 inches wide. You could also use plywood. And we used a jigsaw to just notch out to fit around the studs.
Now, we made measuring these very easy by holding this board in place and making the marks. Then we cut it on the jigsaw. And the reason that we want to notch it out is to allow it to fit tight against the wall so that nothing will fall off behind the shelf itself.
And if when you put it up, often the notches will be cut a little tight. You can always come back with the jigsaw and just widen them a little bit.
And then just a few screws right in the top and you're ready to really maximize your storage.
Now let's join Danny at the Home Center to check out this week's best new product.
If you're ever attempted to install crown molding or base molding in your home, you know the tricky part is when you get to those corners, whether it's inside or outside corners. Now, my carpenters generally use a motorized miter saw, which makes the job a lot easier. But if you don't have one, let me tell you an easy way around that problem. Decramold has created these great corner blocks that makes it so easy on crown or base molding. First of all, the way it works is if you are working into an inside corner with your crown molding, you can simply install this right at the top where the ceiling is here, pre-drilled holes to drill it into the wall, then your crown molding can just butt right up to it. Now, the same is available for smaller moldings just like this, where you turn that right in and your moldings tie right into it. You can see an example of it here in the photo that shows you exactly how it works, and they can be stained or painted. Now, if you're in a situation where you're getting to an outside corner, which can really be tricky with crown molding, you simply use another one of the corner blocks that has the cutout on it for the outside corner, small molding with this one, and this very large one for the larger moldings. Now, the same can be done with your base moldings. There again, your outside corner that it fits over, and your inside corner here where it takes care of that. Now, not only does this make your molding installation go a lot better, it also adds a nice custom touch to it.
Now let's go outside for Around the Yard with Danny and lawn and garden expert Barbara Katz.
You know, when I'm talking to homeowners, they're always looking for ways to make their dollar go a little bit further. I'm sure you hear the same thing.
Oh, Danny, all the time when I go to people's yards and I'm trying to help them sort of with the plants that they have, one of the first things that I discover is that they put the wrong plant in the wrong place. And they'll say, you know, I've spent thousands of dollars over the years and look what I have to show for it. I'm so frustrated.
It probably is well worth getting a little bit of expert advice along the way, talking to the person at the nursery that may be knowledgeable, or even maybe getting a landscape architect or landscape designer out for an hour or so for a little consulting time. I know you'll get that money back.
Well, I mean, for the cost that that will incur the homeowner, it's nothing compared to what you can spend on plants. And so then I think the next thing is once you've got that information, you want to draw up a list of everything that you want to get and do some comparison shopping. I mean, we've got little mom and pop garden shops which have wonderful deals on plants, but then you can go to a large operation and get, you know, a really big tree for the yard for nothing. I mean, sometimes they want to get rid of them at the end of the year.
Yeah, that really makes sense. You know, another thing I hear all the time, neighbors will kind of consolidate their efforts when they're going to the rental center, by, you know, renting a rototiller or aerator, and kind of rent all that at the same time, and I know that saves money.
Absolutely. I mean, I think with all of these things that we've said, what is really important and what comes through is that it's planning. If you can just take the time to do a little bit of planning, it's going to save you money in the long haul.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to comment, like, and hit the bell icon so that we can notify you when new videos are posted.
And don't go anywhere, click around and continue the home improving fun.